The dramatic story begins in Korea, where we see several students, one of whom is getting hit by 4 other students. This student's name is Jeong-soo. After a while, however, something unusual begins to happen in Jeong-soo's body. After seeing his body, it looks like he turned into a zombie. Jeong-soo starts attacking the students who mistreated him. He reacts like a zombie, attacking someone even if he can't see him. Jeong-soo falls on the road while trying to attack a student. He could not move after falling on the road. The 4 students now believe him to be dead. Later, the scene shifts to the hospital, where we see Jeong-soo being accepted there. Mr. Lee, his father, meets him, and the two talked for a while, even though Jeong-soo already knew he might be a zombie. His father was also aware that he might turn into a zombie. Jeong-soo also tries to attack his father during this moment. Meanwhile, Mr. Lee is holding a Bible and pointing it towards Jeong-soo. Mr. Lee later wraps Jeong-soo in a bag and transports him out of the hospital, while Jeong-soo's hand comes out and he grabs it. Here it becomes clear that zombies do not die easily. The scene then cuts to us witnessing it several days later. We are shown a Korean school where everyone is excited that summer is over and winter has arrived. All students are satisfied. There is a school-wide culture that requires students to clean the school themselves, and everyone actively participates in this duty. Meanwhile, a science lab shows up. We see a girl waking up. She is the same girl who was with the students who fought Jeong-soo at the beginning of the movie. He hears a strange noise as he prepares to leave the science lab and then notices a rat locked in a box. She begins to admire the rat and summons it by pointing her fingers at it while the rat bites her. When the rat bites her, her finger begins to bleed and the rat eventually becomes a zombie. Now we know that if a rat bites her, she turns into a zombie. Meanwhile, the science teacher from the lab arrives and is revealed to be Mr. Lee. Now we know who their science teacher is. When Mr. Lee discovers that she has been bitten by a rat, he won't let her go and locks her up. Later, the protagonist's mother owns a hotel and all her friends insist that he eat at her mother's restaurant. They all go to Chung-san's mother's restaurant later in the series. We meet another main character named An-jo. Now they share dinner at this restaurant and enjoy it a lot, as well as discussing with their teacher at school. They talked about how Mr. Lee has been acting strange since his son disappeared. He's talking about Jeong-soo, who went missing and was last seen in a suitcase. After that, nobody knows anything about him. Later they walk out of the restaurant. Chung-san is An-jo's lover whom we know here. An-jo opens her hair and asks San about it. He also wonders if An-jo liked him. They all come back later and we see the girl that Mr. Lee had locked up, but she hasn't turned into a zombie yet. The next morning, we observe An-jo sitting with his father and having a conversation. Meanwhile, Chung-san, whom we know as a roommate in the same building, appears. They play a game there and the loser takes the winner's bag to school. Now that An-jo has lost the game, she transports San's bag to the school, where she will arrive later. We see that there is a pleasant atmosphere in the school and that all students feel good. Later, the boys who beat up Jeong-soo are seen taking the girl and boy to the school building in the backyard. The boy was badly beaten while working on a construction project. Everyone assumes that he will inform the teacher about Jeong-soo's disappearance. They begin filming an immoral video of the woman they took with them. They used to blackmail her with a video. Here comes the third main character, Seo-hyo, who saves the girl and takes her away. While walking down the street, An-jo notices her and unties her hair so she can see him. We realize that she likes Seo-hyo, not San. On the other hand, Seo-hyo and San seem to be excellent friends and their homeroom teacher later joins their class. He starts collecting their cell phones. He asks about the missing girl, while the student claims he last saw her in the science lab. She goes to the science lab to ask Mr. Lee about it, but he refuses to believe it, saying she wasn't there. Meanwhile, the teacher hears an unusual sound. Mr. Lee claims he locked up a rat and it might be the rat's sound. When the teacher returns, she sees a girl who has turned into a zombie. When Mr. Lee injects her, he appears to be conducting an experiment on her. She asks Mr. Lee not to kill her, and he replies, "I hope so, but I wouldn't kill you." He probably realizes he's going to die. He will enter the class later. We can say that the boy is bullying the girl whose videos he uploaded earlier. He was one of the students who defeated Jeong-soo. Mr. Lee taught the chapter on the virus. He confidently asserts that it is misspelled in the book. Yet the girl whom Mr. Lee had bound was unbound. She went to her homeroom teacher and told her everything that Mr. Lee had done to her. After seeing her condition, all the students in the class got scared. She also claims that she was injected by Mr. Lee. As a result, the entire classroom conversation went viral. Meanwhile, Seo-hyo takes her to the medical room and An-jo joins Seo-hyo. The girl bites on Han-jo while lying on the bed. On the other hand, the students in the class are debating how Mr. Lee is torturing her because she and her gang tortured his son. We see a girl who wanted to take her bag home because her health was failing, and she quietly returns to her house. Later, Sen notices that the girl has bitten on Joe. He goes to save her. But when he returns, no one is there. Joe's father bandaged her and the girl was taken to the hospital by ambulance. Joe's father is an ambulance worker. When he entered the classroom, Joe called Ohio and told him his name in the best way, which in Korea meant asking for a date. Ohio asks Joe if she wants to go on a date and she says yes. San also arrives, which infuriates Joe as she believes he interrupted them. Mr. Lee, on the other hand, notices that the girl is missing when he logs into the lab and becomes concerned. Meanwhile, one of the teachers approaches Mr. Lee and asks about the girl and takes him to the principal's office. Mr. Lee tells the girl not to send because she is in quarantine, but the director refuses to report the incident to the police, calling Mr. Lee to question why no action was taken when my son was humiliated. Meanwhile, the police arrive and arrest Mr. Lee. On the other hand, we witness the medical teacher who was bitten by the girl and turned into a zombie very instantly. We see a school where all the children have come to the cafeteria for lunch at recess. Joe sat there with his friends debating how to propose to Ohio, despite his desire to impress another girl. She was the class president and had to sit alone because her mother made her do it. She doesn't like it and that's why no one in the class respects her. On the other side, we see two gang members beating up Jung-soo. They used to make a movie about this med teacher who acts weird after he turns into a zombie while walking around. Meanwhile, the teacher attacks them, biting and eating one of the boys' checks, turning him into a zombie. He starts eating the students. Later we see a scene on the roof of the school, where a girl tries to take her own life, which the guys put on film. Meanwhile, her boyfriend arrives to save her by stopping her from doing so. The girl asks him why he is doing this and if he likes her. He answers yes, but the girl forbids him, telling him, "I'm a loser. You two are a loser and we will be a loser together." Later, the girl tries to take her own life and looks down to see a large number of students fall out of the window. These students were actually trying to catch zombies and she is upset to witness it. All the zombies that fell on the ground started attacking the students. Later we see the school cafeteria where everyone is relaxed as they have no idea what is going on. Joe asks San about Sehyo's feelings for her. Hearing this, San is heartbroken and refuses to help her. While looking out the window, Joe notices a large number of students fleeing. He also notices a large amount of zombies biting the students. Here we see a gang member turn into a zombie and attack Joe. In the second episode of this series, we see some students playing on the ground as zombies attack them and the students flee. Later we show the principal's office where she is yelling at all the teachers, telling them that news of zombies has leaked into the media and that it shouldn't happen. However, the teacher doesn't like it and when she goes outside to announce, a zombie attacks and eats the teacher. We later find out that Joe is attacked by a zombie in the cafeteria, but San comes to save her. San saves her and the two of them jump out the window. But there were a lot of zombies. They both make it to the gate by escaping when the truck has an accident, who also turned into a zombie and together they reach the first floor of the building. They reach into the classroom, refuse to unlock the door, because they think the students are zombies. However, at their insistence, they open the door and everyone enters the classroom. On the other side, we see Ohio emerging from the window accompanied by the president, and they both walk into the classroom with everyone. On the other hand, the first girl turned into a zombie was taken to the hospital, and we see Mr. Lee in prison and learn that he was a scientist first. He has a cat and a rat in a cage. The rat sits in one corner of the cage with fear. But Mr. Lee one day stole the rodent's DNA while it was being torn apart, and he made a medicine out of it and injected it into his son because he believed that his boy was also a coward and that he would be a rag. However, his son turns into a zombie and murders his mother. On the one hand, we know that Mr. Lee is a psychopath. On the other hand, we see the girl in the hospital where she was subjected to certain tests. He bites two doctors, both of whom turn into zombies at the same time. Zombies have spread throughout the hospital as a result of everyone biting each other. On the other side, we see a girl who left school and luckily came back. Meanwhile, we notice a bus with a large number of students returning from the game. When they come to school, they are in shock. On the other hand, students in the classroom struggle to find the phone to ask for help. They call the police, but they don't bother because they think the students are playing a prank. The police department, on the other hand, received a report that the hospital had been overrun by zombies. They are worried about this, but Joe calls his father who comes with his team to help them when he hears this. On the other hand, the teacher came and the students were very happy. so he told them to close the door and the window. When Anjo sees the teacher's zombie-bitten hand, he immediately turns into a zombie. He bites another girl and turns her into a zombie. All the students fight the teacher and he ends up being locked in the room. And they run to the lab where Ohio engages them in a dogfight. How good he was. They eventually make it to the lab, which is locked. Anjo breaks the lock while the other students fight the zombies and enter the lab. Doors and windows slam. Anjo asks about Ohio since he left outside. She assumes he turned into a zombie. Later in the episode, we are treated to a rooftop scene of the same girl and boy we saw first. The scene shifts to the washroom where the girl is hiding from the zombies. The girl and the boy were hidden in the toilet next door and the girl was infected while the boy knew nothing. And the girl from the other washroom takes the boy from that washroom and locks him in there. And then she turns into a zombie. An arrow hits her in the head. Two other main characters from the series are introduced. We saw students on the bus who know how to use a bow and arrow. They just arrived by bus. Later we see the teacher declare that the school is in terrible shape and the students should hide wherever they are. All students will be shown where they are hidden at all times. We notice the principal hiding behind the desk. Now Anjo's friend asks if she told her friend that she likes Ohio. He later visits Anjo and notices that her body has gone cold and that she has turned into a zombie. She used to be Anjo's best friend, but now that she's a zombie, she attacks her. Now she has been thrown from the window and Anjo is holding her hand. She doesn't want to let go of her best friend's hand. After these events, Anjo becomes rather pessimistic. On the other side, we see Ohio who is still alive and hiding behind the bench. They all agree to go down while holding the pipe as the door will soon break and zombies will attack. Sen declares that he would go first, and when he sees Anjo, he realizes that he doesn't care about anyone. She sat in silence and he decided to go in the end and sent them all away. There was an announcement room where they reached down. The teacher was also there, who called them. San and Anjo were now alone at the top. He invites her to come, but she refuses, saying that there is no one alive who likes her. It pains him to listen and she finally agrees with him and he sends her down the stairs. Now we see Ohio who was running from the zombies and went out the window. When San arrives in that room, there were many zombies who took him with them. We finally see him die after falling with the zombies. This is where the movie ends. Episode 3 starts with Mr. Lee telling the police that yes, I invented the virus and the scene cuts here. Later, the girl is shown. Her condition was worse. She goes to a public toilet and gives birth to a baby. That is why the girl was sick and left while she dropped her child there. When he goes outside, he finds many zombies. Later, Sahyuk is shown. He was trying to get into the room through the pipe. He sees some zombies jumping with sand. This is the scene that ended in the last episode. Sahyuk helps San. They enter the conference room. When they come into the room, strange things happen. The girl in the pink sweater asked everyone to close the window. Meanwhile, the boy asks her to let them in. Then we close the window. The girl starts to misbehave with the boy. Their teacher comes and calms them down. They noticed a computer there. They start watching the scene outside on the computer. What's going on outside? The scene outside shows where zombies were everywhere and people were recording videos of it. Now they also get the video and find that zombies are rampant everywhere. Suddenly a zombie comes through the pipe to the window. Sahyuk attacks him with a pole, but San's friend hits him with a computer processor. During this match, his nose begins to bleed. The girl in the pink sweater says you are infected and about to turn into a zombie. The scene cuts to reveal to the politician that Anjo's father was also there to save her. One of the politicians got infected. San's friend is shown and everyone blamed him that he is infected. Soon they will also turn into zombies. They ask him to stay in the room for an hour. The teacher asks the girl who accused him that if she doesn't turn into a zombie within the lesson, will you apologize to him? San's mother is shown hearing about the zombies on the news. She gets on her scooter and drives off to rescue him. Police also intervene throughout the city, so infected people don't come out. Others don't get infected because of them. Later, the 4 students are shown in the washroom of the school. They were shown before and San's friend is shown on the other side. He had been in the room for the last half hour, but he was not infected. The teacher goes to call him. San's friend doesn't come out and the teacher asks the girl in the pink sweater to call him. He also asks her to apologize to him. The girl apologizes to him and begins to clean the wound on his hand with a handkerchief. This girl is having a bad time with San's boyfriend. She pours the zombie blood into the blood through the tissue to mix the zombie blood into it. His body will be completely infected. Again, she speaks ill of the boy and he also angrily fights with her. The girl still claimed he was infected. Everyone says he would have been infected until now he would have turned into a zombie. Night appears and San's friend is also infected. Everyone gets emotional for San's friend. because he was a brave boy who helped everyone. San's friend also becomes a zombie. They attack San first. San distracts him and throws him out the window. He starts running away with the zombies while falling from the window. San is sad to see him, because he was his good friend. The girl is shown running back and forth with her child. The girl arrives at San's mother's restaurant. She binds herself there because she was also infected. She puts her child aside so she doesn't hurt her child after he is a zombie. The school lab was quiet and everyone was silent. They were depressed because of San's boyfriend. The girl with the pink sweater says, "I told you he's already infected." She thinks everyone will thank her for saving their lives. Meanwhile, the class president slaps her and says, "I saw everything. What have you done?" and tells everyone the truth, what this girl did. The girl begins to cry, but still did not regret her mistake. The girl leaves and cries. The class teacher is also moving behind the girl. The teacher went after her to escape her, but many zombies arrive there. He attacks them. The teacher runs away with the girl. The next episode shows San's mother entering the country to save her son. When San's mother gets to school, she sees San's boyfriend. He doesn't know that San's friend has also become a zombie. When she comes to ask him about San's friend bites her along with other zombies. Zombies will eat her. The students are shown in the science lab while they think the teacher and the girl are saved, because they did not hear their cry. On the other side, a student is shown. He was part of a gang that teases people. He runs away from the zombies and gets outside as he tries to ride his bike out of the school. Suddenly, his cycle chain is removed and many zombies start chasing him. He moves to the school again and goes to the principal's office. Many zombies end and the director was also hidden in the office on the other side. The two girls are shown fighting in the washroom. The policeman keeps asking Mr. Lee about the virus. Mr. Lee told him that he created the virus to make his son strong. However, this virus has the opposite effect on their son, eating his mother like a zombie. As the town begins to empty, a policeman takes Mr. Lee outside. Many zombies come and attack the police officer. Mr. Lee goes to save the policeman but is attacked by a zombie. She bites him. Mr. Lee knows he is going to die soon and tells the policeman that my laptop is in the science lab. It has an antidote to this virus. The officer runs. Mr. Lee has now become a zombie, but he can control himself even after being a zombie. The officer catches up with the boy and asks him to go with him to the emergency room. When he gets there, he can tell everyone about the laptop that contained the antidote to the virus. It appears in the morning and the students are shown stuck in a science lab. So far, no one has reached out to them for help. Students are shown in the washroom. At night they had a hard fight. Now they have decided to move from there together. The gang boy who shot the girl's video is shown on the roof, who was trying to end her life, and the boy recorded her video. The girl moves away to escape. He decides to smash the boy's phone, so the video will not be uploaded. She moves out, but then a zombie attacks her. Run away from zombies. The zombies bit her, but it doesn't affect the girl. San and Sehyuk are shown trying to go to the staff room to get the mobile phones from there to the staff room. They notice that the girl was smashing the phone. Meanwhile, San picks up the phone from there. The girl steps forward to end San, but Sehyuk saves him and pushes the girl back. Many zombies were entering the staff room and Sehyuk was trying to get out of the window, but San couldn't reach the window and left through the door. The boy and the principal are shown. The boy reaches there and gives him the car keys. She asks him to bring the car, but he refuses. He starts a fight and after him Onjo's father shows up. He was saving everyone from there. But even in that place there were many zombies. They were trying to get to the roof because their helicopter has to reach there. So they all run away from there. San is shown out through the door and also reaches the main office. He notices the boy beating the principal. San bans him and starts making videos with him. But the boy was aggressive and terminated the director. He later runs after San. And in episode 5 the boy is shown running after San. He attacks him with a knife to stop him. That knife didn't hit San and he was saved. San gets to the library and the boy fights San there. She asks him for his phone to delete the video he recorded. Meanwhile, San gets hit in the eye with the phone because of this, seriously injuring himself. San runs away from there while the gang boy falls from there. The boy has also been bitten by zombies and San runs from the library. The students are shown stuck in the washroom and then bravely freed from there. They reach the medical room of the school. They notice the computer and it goes through the pipe to escape the zombies. On the other side, the commanders who declared martial law in the city are depicted. They cut all signals and San tries to make a distress call, but he couldn't make a call because there were no networks in the city. Onjo asks the student to bring the drone. She placed him in the lab and they moved out the window to retrieve the drone. A police officer is shown searching for a laptop with a man. It's sitting in the car, but it's damaged. They go to San's mother's restaurant and notice the girl there, the girl who got hitched. They also find her baby, and San also made it through the pipe to the music room. Anjo and the students came with the drone. He builds a drone and uses it to discover San. They also find out that San is fine. They take the drone towards the city. They notice many cars there, and the student sees her parents in the car. Now they have become zombies. When she saw this, she cried a lot, and the zombies also broke their drone. Anjo's father took them to the military office while escaping them in a helicopter. The army locks them in a room to check if they are infected or not. The gang boy who had now become a zombie. Even the zombies were far from him. The girl in the video is shown being bitten by zombies, but she was not affected, and San is shown. He was in the music room. There was also a girl in a pink sweater. He doesn't say he's here. A student whose parents have become zombies tries to end his life because her parents died. Her friends stop her and later get an idea. They can reach San with it. Their plan was to ring the songs to some places in the school through the microphone. Zombies at school will go to that place. This way the school will be empty, and they can go to San. That way they can go to the terrace and take him. They call for help, and now they will do the same. Zombies gather in place as they run. But there stood a zombie who was deaf. They moved slowly behind him, but the zombies see them. He sees them and attacks them. They run away from there and attack the zombies. A boy is shown who was injured by San with a cell phone. He comes and attacks everyone. He sees Sahyuk who was fighting zombies. He ends the zombies and asks Sahyuk about San. Sahyuk forbids him, and they fight over it. Even the gang boy was going to finish off Sahyuk. The class president arrives and tries to stop her, but he bites her hand. Sahyuk makes the boy fall from the window, and Anjo's father knocks some of the guards unconscious. Because the guards didn't listen to Anjo's father, he wasn't ready to go to school. He walks out while the guards pass out, wearing their uniform. Sahyuk and the class president catch up with San and the other students. When San notices that she is about to be bitten by a zombie, he moves forward to finish her off. Sahyuk says, holding her hand, "If this happens, I will throw her out the window." Some other students are shown in the medical room. They come out and start helping their companion because he was badly injured. The class president was infected, and Sahyuk tied her hand so he won't hurt anyone else. A policeman is shown who saved the baby girl. He goes outside while taking the baby and sees another girl. Many zombies were after her, and they returned to the restaurant again and took the girl. The students stuck in the music room were hungry. He tries to open the room. There is food in the room, and there was also a girl in a pink sweater. He locks the door from the inside. Anjo's father moved from there to save his daughter. The soldiers see him there and start shooting at him. Students find a camera and start recording their feelings on it. Anjo's father jumps into the water while escaping. He fires a bullet and gets injured. Sahyuk is still shown with the girl in episode 7, the girl who was infected. He says he likes her. He shows himself to the girl whose video the boys made. She became half zombie because she was bitten by zombies. He comes to his teacher. The teacher starts hitting her when he sees her, but this teacher never helped her. While the boys are teasing her. That's why he eats his teacher, because she was hungry. Students stuck in the music room show up and make a plan. Students must go to the terrace to call for help. They plan to divide the room into 2 parts because they will be performing the song in this room. Zombies will gather in this room and leave this room through another door. Their plan was successful. They leave through another door. Anjo's father is shown on the other side. He takes some weapons from the police station and then leaves. The students were still stuck in the medical room and decided to get out of the room. One of the students was injured, forcing him to lie down on the bed and try to walk away. When they come out, the bed breaks. The zombies follow them because of his voice. They go inside the school again, and the police took the kids on their bikes as they ran away. They noticed that a boy had climbed onto the terrace. He had one leg injured, and the boy was also a vlogger. He calls them for help, and a policeman goes to save him. But the other one tricks him and rides off on a bike. On the other side, San, Sahyuk, and the other students get to the terrace. The patio door wouldn't open, and he tries to open it. Another student is shown on the terrace in episode 8, but he didn't help them or open the door. Meanwhile, a military helicopter reaches and takes the boy and asks the student to tell them that he survived alone. The others are dead. The army will take the boy from there. A student turned zombie sets the school on fire. This causes the fire alarms to go off and all the doors to open. Now the terrace door has also opened and goes to the terrace. They start calling for help. The gang boy has become a zombie and is trying to open the door. In the process, his arm breaks and the students write sauce on the roof, so they get some help. The officer was with the vlogger and the latter did not run away while cheating on him. but he brought a bus for him and the children were there with him. The officer and the vlogger hop on the bus. A second officer will take them from there. Students on the roof try to start a fire. One of the students gives him his lighter. They think this student might be smoking. The officer is shown who is driving the bus. A girl gets into an accident on their bus and the army arrives there as well. They save them all and take them with them. The girl in the pink sweater was still locked up and she thinks she will bring food to the roof for the survivors. She also remembers how her teacher sacrificed his life to save her. On his way out, he encounters a gang boy who was half zombie and hungry. He pulls the girl to him and eats her. On the other hand, Sen tells Anjo that he likes her. Anjo doesn't like that and gets up. Sen says, "I like you but you don't have to have me." Anjo asks him to leave and the gang boy comes who is now a zombie and fights everyone. The class president, who is half zombie, throws him down and picks him up. But still he wasn't dead. This is shown in episode 9. An officer who was captured by the army. He tells them that teacher Mr. Lee created this virus and his laptop has an antidote. The laptop is in the school's science lab. The commander orders everyone on this mission. The students on the roof find a helicopter flying towards them. They call a helicopter for help. The soldiers get out of the helicopter and check the temperature of all the students. But the class president's temperature was different, because he's half zombie now. The soldiers ask the students to first bring the laptop from the science lab. After him, "We will take you from here during the rescue." On the other hand, the scene in the army shows that the girl who happened to be in the accident was also half zombie. She eats a boy there. When the commanders see this, they discover that the girl was also a zombie. They think there are some zombies they don't know about, and the students including Anjo and Sehyuk were forbidden by the commander to save. Soldiers move while they are left there. Sen gets furious about this and starts a fire. It also removes the SAS signal. On the way, Anjo's father is shown and the man asks him for help. He leaves while giving the gun to the man because he has to save his daughter. The army also detained the infected girl. Rain starts there even at night. The students were stuck on the roof and there was also a lot of thunder. They decide that the zombies can't recognize their voice because of the thunder. Thinking that, he tries to leave there. They come down, and when they get down, Sen sees his mother. She was turned into a zombie. Sen finds out in episode 10 that his mother is now a zombie as well. Sen cries a lot over this and becomes emotional. Many zombies appear there and the girl gets separated from her group. The zombie is holding her. They bite her and she turns into a zombie too. On the other side, the commander was watching Mr. Lee's video. They find out that Mr. Lee told the truth that there is no antidote to this virus. If a person is affected by this virus, the antidote will finish them off by burning. If not, this whole world will turn into zombies. The students are shown leaving school and appearing in the morning. Anjo's father was still on his way to find his daughter. The gang boy is shown still looking for San. The commanders discover that the zombie virus has spread in other cities. Students at school are trying to build a wall. While they were going outside, the zombies attack them. They bite one of the students and he becomes infected even as he tries to save his other friends. Besides, the zombies end up eating him. A meeting of the commanders is shown and they decide if we don't stop this, zombies will spread in this world. He thinks he's going to detonate a bomb. The students came out and reached the door. The door was locked from the outside and anyone from the outside can open it. Anjo sees her father there and opens the door. Anjo is happy to see her father and hugs him. Episode 11 reveals how Anjo's father decided to take them to the mountain, because it was a place to save them from zombies. When they reach the ground while running, they will be attacked by many zombies. Anjo's father gets the students out of there and distracts the zombies. He was locked there because a zombie bit him. Anjo feels bad seeing this and starts crying there. Later, the students reach the construction site. There were also zombies and they were sitting when they came out the window. On the other hand, the commander experimented on zombies and discovered that zombies cannot tolerate high frequency. They decide to gather the zombies in the place where they shoot them. The students are shown to still be trapped in the school. There was only way to get out. The student distracts the zombies and the others leave. No one was ready to accept it because they don't want to lose anyone. Meanwhile, they notice a helicopter approaching them. The helicopter tells them there is going to be an explosion. People who are not infected should leave this place. Drones also fly into the city and make noise because of it. The zombies have been scattered. The gang boy gets to San, still chasing him, and turns into a zombie and bites San during the fight. Anjo is sad to see this, because Anjo also likes San. San Anjo hugs and exchanges name tags. San has now become a zombie and is distracting the zombies. The other students who are not infected leave. San and gang's boy start fighting. Suddenly there is an explosion and they die in it. They are dying. This is shown in the last episode of the series. Lion students including Anjo, and goes to the construction site again to see Sano. There was none because they all died. They are coming back from there. They reach the forest and find many ribbons. These ribbons were tied by Anjo's father, and there she finds her father's torch. Anjo discovers that the ribbons were placed by her father. They move out of the forest using ribbons. They arrived at the next town, but it was already deserted. There wasn't one, and they found themselves being chased by some zombies. They decided not to run away from here, but to fight those zombies. Two of the students also become infected while fighting the zombies. One of the students was terminated by the class president because he turned into a zombie. They run away from there. The class president, who felt like she was going to be a complete zombie. She was also hungry and wanted to eat them, so she separated from them. Sehyuk and Anjo chase after her to save her. When they get there, they see that the girl was eating the other zombies. Meanwhile, she attacked Anjo. Sehyuk can't end her because he likes her. He leaves Anjo and moves away. The survivors go to the base and the army puts them in prison for 3 months to check if they are zombies or not. They were released after 3 months. Anjo goes to the mountain, reaches out and places some food for his friends. She sees the roof of the school and there was still a fire and thinks she might be their class president. He tells Sehyuk about all of this. They decide to go to school at night. Sehyuk makes more friends with him. They get there and notice the fire. The class president was there too and has now recovered. Anjo asks her to come with her. He refuses and says there are many others like me. Meanwhile, others like her arrive there and she leaves while jumping from the building. Her friends are surprised to see this. This is the end of the film series.